Okay, we're gonna do a walk around on my 65 Mustang. I'm gonna explain some of the details. So bear with my terrible video here. So I bought the car in 2013, all stock with no drivetrain. Immediately got stripped, put on a rotisserie, sandblasted inside and out. There was very little rust, but what little was there was fixed correctly. New fenders, new door skins. The only reason I did new quarters was because we actually stretched them about 2 inches out further than what they were originally. And the car is also mini tubbed. Top of the dashboard shaved, like the Shelby race cars. Speed hut gauges, flaming river column, tilt column, FauxMoCo prototypo steering wheel. It's got a brand new classic auto sound Bluetooth radio. I don't have an antenna on the car. I use my phone most of the time to play music. It has, the heater box has been rebuilt, everything replaced, repainted, resealed, new heater core. Heat works, no AC, new glove box. It's got a new American Auto Wire complete car harness. Put it in the glove box. This is a BP Automotive LS swap harness. So all the engine fuses are in here and relays. This is all the car relays and fuses. I have 2 LED relays in here for the LED taillights. And this is for the radio, custom auto sound. New latch. I also added a oil temp gauge, wideband gauge into pods that are on the speaker cover. Underneath here are 2 JBL component speakers. That is the GPS speedometer for the speed hut gauges. I had this custom face made for the speedometer, 364, that's the size of the motor. Has fuel, oil, speedometer, tach, water temp, and voltage. Everything works. The seats are FauxMoCo Evo. They are the same, but different styles. The passenger side is a little bit wider and a little bit shorter for, I'm a PCA instructor, so it kind of fits more of a variety of people. The driver's side is an Evo 2 also. It's a different version. It's a little skinnier, a little taller. 34 inch waist fits in there fine. It's got a new 2.5 pound chrome fire extinguisher just in case things go crazy. Low car, e-brake and boot, and all new cables to the back. It's got a 4-point roll bar that the harness is attached to. Everything's set up correctly. I did a rear seat delete. The lower part is actually the original lower rear seat frame with a really light metal bracket welded to it, and then I built this cubby in it to store insurance paperwork. I've got a toolkit, license plates, air pressure gauge, stuff that you need when you're out on the road. I drive it on the street a lot more than on the track, but okay. It also has a plate added across the back there that's carpeted to match. Rear package tray is covered in carpet, and it has JBL 6x9s. That sounds awesome. Move the outside. I did shave the drip rails and added 1/8 inch round rod all around the radius. It doesn't just pour water into the car when it's raining. It just kind of rolls off. It's a smoother look, possibly more aerodynamic. That's what I was going for. I did put new door handles, locks on the whole car when I built it. Chrome around the windows is original, but all the glass is new. Front, rear, all the side windows. New setting tape, all new seals all the way around. The wing windows all rebuilt, new seals. New windshield, all new front and rear seals. Original chrome, repolished. I had made a note of this. The chrome does touch the top of the fender right there on each side. It's really close. Alright. Wiper arms are original. New wiper inserts, or wiper blades. The cowl was never rusty. I didn't have to do any work to that. It was epoxied on the inside and sprayed with body cavity wax, and so was all the frame rails, rockers, everything that I could get body cavity wax into was sprayed after the car was epoxied and blasted and epoxied when I built it. Okay, from the car, go ahead and pop the hood. It has quick latches, so you can lock the hood. Keeps it sturdy, above 100 miles an hour. Original hinges. The whole bottom of the hood was blasted, painted. Looks just as good as the rest. The whole engine bay was painted rat rod black, just like the interior. This is a 6-liter LY6 truck motor. It had 7,000 miles on it when I bought it. It was originally VVT. In the last 6 months, I pulled the motor out, deleted the VVT, has a Brian Tooley 6-liter road race cam, LS3 intake, and the whole bottom end was rebuilt. New pistons, Eagle rods, polished the crank, all new bearings, just to make sure everything was good while I had the motor apart. Always run Amsoil Dominator or Brad Penn. Right now it has Brad Penn 1540 in it. It has an SN95 booster and Cobra master cylinder. It has a adjustable rear brake bias. All of the lines were built out of nickel copper, new fittings, braided lines on the front, braided lines on all the rear, and it always has ATE gold in it. It has the modern driveline hydraulic master, so there's the reservoir. The hose goes actually into the car and comes back out, and the slave is there. It has a braided line going down to the T56 transmission. That is the quick bleeder for that master cylinder. It has the BP Automotive harness right there, comes out, all fire braid. That's the temp sensor for the speed density tune that I have on it recently. Much easier than the MAF, which took up a lot of room. Stock 88mm truck throttle body. It has the comp cams trunnion upgrade kit on the rockers. It has the upgraded chromoly 5/16 push rods, MLS head gaskets, ARP head bolts, ARP crank bolt, ARP flywheel, and pressure blade bolts. Now that I put these polished valve covers on, the wires actually come down and go into the back of the strut tower. And since I don't use the lower or upper control arm anymore, the coil packs are actually mounted above the frame rail, behind the strut on the outside of the frame. And then it has a custom cover that mounts over top of that to protect it from road debris. I have checked it, and they've stayed nice and clean in there. It does have the Anthony Jones Colt 65 front suspension kit in it. So it has a tubular K-member that bolts into the frame rails. It has a custom strut. You can use an SN95. I bought the custom strut, and I did the Coney Road Race shocks that are adjustable dampening right here. I did rebuild these upper camber plates recently, blasted them, Cerakoted them, put new bearings in. Both sides. That has a stock style squirter bottle. I don't have any of the squirter hardware installed in the car. It has the brake ducts like the Shelby would have had. They just pretty much go through that hole there and terminate. It sends some air towards the back of the brake duct, the disc brakes, and those go to the GT 350R style front valance. And then it does have a 69 Camaro lower splitter. Headlights are H4, but they have the turn signals integrated. So in the bottom of the headlight, there's a little turn signal. Repainted the stock grille, added the 63 Corvette emblem just for, you know, whatever. It has a 4-inch Venturi right there, feeding my little airbox a large Canon filter. FauxMoCo 3-core aluminum radiator. It's the 6768 Mustang size with an integrated. It's got the electric fan. The controller is mounted down here for it. Sorry about that. Headers are custom made 1 3/4 long tube headers. They're super easy to get in and out. And copper MLS gaskets on those. They go to a V-band and then to a 2.5-inch dual exhaust with a crossover tube and Hooker Max Flow mufflers. And then I ran them under the rear end and out the back because the rear suspension kind of poses an issue with clearance that way, but I have had no issues with that, and I really love it. Brakes are 2000 Cobra R SN95 4-piston Brembos. It's got new 13-inch Ford Motorsports discs. Been on there for, I don't know, this summer. All new open-end lug bolts, but new bearings. It has SN95 spindles with new Moog hub bearings and hubs, and it has just recently got the AJE drop spindles so that the lower control arm isn't pointed up. So now it's nice and level. Bump steer kit, 93 Cobra rack. I think it's an 1 1/8 or 1 1/4 sway bar. custom lines for to go from the Mustang rack to the C5 Corvette power steering pump, and we made a custom power steering mount that was engineered, water jetted, welded together, and put on there, and basically is where the air conditioning pump would have been originally. There's tons of pictures, but it has had both torque boxes welded in. That is a small box that protects the fuel line, comes through the torque box and goes up into the engine bay. You can see the oil filter, back of the control arm. There's the fuel line, frame tie. It has a 2000 or so Cobra Mustang cross member for the transmission. Custom mounts welded into the frame so that can work. And then poly rear transmission. It's got a new metal bumper. It wasn't chrome. I bought a black one. Rolled the corners in so they fit a little better. Welded the brackets in, no bumper bolts. And then it bolts on nice and clean. It does have the LED tail lights with the sequential turn signals. It's got the large gas filler. The whole inside of the car and the bottom of the car was sprayed with truck bed liner. I don't know if you can see that. But the wheel wells from the tail light panel all the way to the firewall was sprayed with that. And then the whole side of the car was sprayed with that. And then it had that insulation, stick down insulation put on the whole inside of the car. New carpet, loop carpet in the front. So I bought this loop carpet mat for the rear. It fits really well. I did have to trim it for the battery box. And it does have the little factory style cardboard plate that sits on that side. I recently put a catch can back here for the rear diff. Not really had an issue with that, but I was told if you're running up at high speeds, sometimes you can get windage and it'll blow out. So instead of dumping it all over the bottom of the car, I figured it could go into a catch can. I have another 9-inch front wheel, could fit on the back also, with a tire. I usually run the Falcon 615, so that's what's on there as a spare. I never did build a proper mount for that, so it has a strap that holds it in. But it pretty much stays in there all the time, even on the track, driving around. The battery does have a breaker back here, so if you short something out on the car, it pops that breaker instead of frying the car. There's also a battery cut switch right there, so if you park the car, you can kill the battery. I'll have pictures of the cover off. Bottom of the trunk, blasted, painted, factory style stickers on there. Latch was cleaned up, new seal, new rear latch, all new rubber. And the gaps are really nice on there. I did put a new lower valance on it. This is a 64.5. It never came with reverse lights. I kind of like the look without them, so I bought a new lower valance because the old one was a little dinged up. And then you can see where I ran the 2.5-inch exhaust out in the factory location. You can kind of see the 9-inch rear end and the torque arm, and the Fuels Inc. gas tank with the integrated fuel injection system in it. There'll be a lot more pictures that you can see included, I'm sure. And same thing with this side. Dog hair is free. New door panel. Light switch. Let's see. Turn this on. Wipers. 2-speed wipers. Bluetooth radio. It does have holes on the dash there and there because the factory cover would have had a trim that goes across because the vinyl would have wrapped around. I never did shave those. I do have the chrome trim that would go on there. I just left it. You don't really see it. This adjusts the brightness of the gauges. Does still have the ashtray. I keep junk in there. Some people asked, it does have the TMI one-piece headliner, and they actually have a plastic A-pillar cover that goes in there as well. Factory rearview mirror. I do have the sun visors, but I never put them back in. Flaming River tilt column. Stainless. I wrinkle coated the top half. The original air vent is here. That's the button for the air vent. Let fresh air in. I bought a brand new clutch brake pedal set. This was an automatic car originally. So I bought a brand new rebuilt clutch brake pedal set and bolted it in. And then it has a Corvette throttle by wire setup pedal. So it is a throttle by wire car. You can see the rebuilt heater box. And there's a vent on that side from the factory that you can open up to also let fresh air in, which is why I left the cowl in place. Loop carpet. Pretty much everything on this car is new except for some of the chrome trim. I took pictures of the seats. This one just expired, which means if you want to race this in a race series, you can't use that seat. Otherwise, it's fine. That seat is an older one that was actually never sold. It was brand new, sitting on the shelf, and had expired, so I bought it a little bit cheaper and put it on the passenger side. Like I said, the date does not matter unless you are in a racing sanctioned series. Same with the harnesses. I'm not sure. I think they are good until this year, 2022. Might as well start it. I have the Hearst style original boot. This is a billet bowler transmission shift handle, and I put the old school 6-speed knob on it. You can see the wideband working. It has to do this little countdown before it starts. Doesn't work. Oil temp. Most I've seen is about 220, 230 on a hot day on a racetrack. New kick panels each side. FauxMoCo is really nice. Spend a lot of time on panel gaps. It's not a concours car, but it is very nice. All right, there's your quick 20-minute view.